Greetings, scholars. I'm so glad you're here. Mr. Culp here. Today we are going to be talking about a signpost that is going to assist you in digging deeper into your text and analyzing or examining character change, the resolution of the conflict, and or one of the themes the author is exploring. So hold on to your seat, scholars, as we discuss the signpost, Words of the Wiser. Let's get started. Let's go ahead and start off today by watching a short video to see some words of the wiser.
There's no easy way around it. No matter how talented you are, your talent is going to fail you if you're not skilled. You know, if you don't study, if you don't work really hard and dedicate yourself to being better every single day, you'll never be able to communicate with people, with your artistry, the way that you want.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
After nearly 90 years of life, it is time for new heads to lift the burdens. It is in your hands now.
So, those were all pieces of advice that definitely and hopefully would make the recipient think, whoever is hearing them. These were all words of the wiser. Now, I'm going to put a disclaimer here. Just because advice is given does not mean it is good advice. We all know people who give bad advice or even have negative outlooks on life who we just wouldn't trust. Now, just because someone gives advice, whether it be in a movie or a text or to us, does not mean it is a words of the wiser. So if the antagonist gives advice, it does not mean it automatically is words of the wiser. Now, we could still analyze it for character motivation, like why is the character giving this advice? But that is a little different than words of the wiser. Words of the wiser must be helpful advice. Now, a character also, just so you know, might take that advice and apply it right away, or they might just brush it off and remember it later in the story and it comes back into play. But that advice has to be wise and helpful. Let's think about some advice that maybe we've been given. When I was younger, my mom would always be giving me advice of some sort, even when I didn't want it. She would say things like, if you can't say something nice, don't say nothing at all, or anything at all. That was a double negative there. Or, always tell the truth. Or, haste makes waste, Mr. Culp. She didn't call me that. She called me Rob. And you know what? That last one was always weird. I never fully understood that one. Haste makes waste. Well, I did understand it one day when I was rushing to get all the dishes done so I could get outside and play. Well, I was carrying too many dishes, and I bet you can guess what happened next as I rushed to get them put away. It wasn't good. Because I'd been rushing so much, I had to spend a lot of time cleaning up a huge mess. Haste makes waste. You do not save any time by working too fast. Hurrying often causes you to make mistakes, and you're going to have to take extra time to do the job over again or fix those mistakes. My mom's words were wise indeed, even though I didn't think so at the time. I just wasn't wise enough to listen to her. Well, authors are in the same way like a mom or a dad or a grandparent. They include scenes in our book or little episodes in which words of the wiser are shared. So when I'm reading, I'm always on the lookout for a place where the main character has a quiet or serious talk with the wiser character. Now, that wiser character might be a friend or a brother or sister or maybe a teacher or a parent or even just a kindly neighbor down the street. When I find that scene, I want to read it carefully because the wiser character is probably offering the main character some really good advice that's going to come into play. That advice they give is probably a life lesson or maybe even a theme. And if I pay attention to it, I'll see an important idea the author wants me to think about as a reader. Now, these happen in movies all the time, so let's watch some clips from a variety of movies where words of the wiser are given.
But you know, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times. If one only remembers to turn on the light.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
You are fully capable of deciding your own destiny. The question you face is, which path will you choose?
Everything you do in life, every choice you make has a consequence. When you do things without thinking, you ain't making the choice is making you.
It is not our abilities that show what we truly are. It is our choices.
You are what you choose to be. You choose.
I guess it comes down to a simple choice, really. Get busy living, or get busy dying.
Everything that has a beginning has an end.
Believe it or not, each and every one of us in this room is one day going to stop breathing, turn cold, and die.
Death is a natural part of life. Rejoice for those around you who transform into the Force.
And so, we are all connected in the great circle of life.
You must be imaginative, strong-hearted. You must try things that may not work. And you must not let anyone define your limits because of where you come from.
All right, I'll give it a try.
No. Try not. Do. Or do not. There is no try.
Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. All right?
So there you have it, a bunch of words of the wiser from characters in movies. Did you recognize any of those movies? Again, some of that advice was helpful in the moment, and some of that advice was helpful later in the movie. The same goes for books. And now it's time for review time. All right, so when you are reading and you come across a scene where a wiser character who might be older, but younger people can be wiser too, takes the main character aside and gives them serious advice that is helpful in the story and or throughout life, we want to stop, notice, and ask ourselves some questions. First, what's the life lesson and how might this affect the character? Now, with that question, we might get insight into the theme, because a life lesson is a theme, and how might this affect the character is going to give us insight into character change. But of course, we want to ask these follow-up questions and dig deeper to ensure that we're hitting those literary elements. So we're going to ask, is this advice causing a change in our character? Is it providing a solution to the conflict? Or is it a theme that has been or will be explored? And that is a key a lot of times, that advice is a statement that can be used as a theme of a text, so keep that in mind. All right, as always, here are the notes I took. You're welcome to pause here and take them in the same way, or if you've already taken notes, great, now I'll zoom in on them. But remember, figuring out your note-taking style is so important as you continue through your educational journey. So pause it here if you need the notes, and then pause it here if you need the notes. You can see that's just continuing it down. All right, so this is the end, scholars. I hope this signpost helped you out and assists you in diving deeper into what you're reading. Don't forget to check out the other signpost videos if you need help or even just a review, and happy reading, friends. Culp out!